John Kane, one of the founding partners of Architekton in Tempe, Arizona.
This question is, what key life experience have formed who you are today?
A couple things. I grew up backpacking the Sierra Nevada with my dad. I spent a lot of time outdoors, and I love the outdoors. That's just part of me is whenever I can be hiking or backpacking or mountain biking or fishing or snowboarding, whatever it is. It's like I just love being outside. Then the architecture side came from a trip when I was about 12, getting to go visit my aunt in Chicago and seeing a big city. I'd never seen a big city. I'm from Southern California, relatively small suburban kind of community, and then actually seeing a large urban city and some of the great architecture that was happening at the time, which is many, many years ago. John Hancock building, I think, was the one that really kind of blew me away. It has this big exoskeleton. And anyway, I think that was when I decided I was going to be an architect. I think it was the combination of what I used to do with my dad and being outside, outdoors, and then seeing a big urban environment.
Is how did you become passionate and involved in our city?
In our city?
Yeah.
I am originally from Southern California, and then I went to a community college in Southern California in architecture, more architectural technology, about more drafting and kind of preparing you to work in the real world, and then transferred to ASU. I had researched different schools. I was either going to go to, I think I got accepted to San Luis Obispo, Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, and ASU, and I just fell in love with the desert. There was something about this place, kind of the rawness, the sun. For one, I love the sun. The sun has to be shining. If it's overcast, I don't even function. Doesn't even. I just need to go take a nap somewhere. So I think just the amount of sunlight, and then the kind of the unique topography, the landscape, and kind of the pretty much open canvas. I mean, a lot of undeveloped land spread out, and the notion of how to be in a place that you can contribute your skills to help knit it together and make it hopefully someday a great city. It's got a ways to go. We're doing some really good things, but we've got I think a long way to go before it's considered great.
What are your core values and how are they reflected in your work?
Core values. And it probably changes every time I give this interview. I think about these differently, but fundamentally, there's this kind of idea of honesty and integrity that are, how I was raised, and being really honest about how we do work, and how I deal with clients and my team and everything. It's pretty. I kind of wear my emotions on my shoulder, and it's all kind of there's no faking it. It's like you're just kind of real and you're in there. I believe in working hard, a lot of, really strong work ethic, to get to where I want to get to in a design. The ideas don't just they're not temporal, they're not fetish, it's through exploration. And so that idea of design process being extremely messy, but extremely intense to get from A to Z, is something that I'm really passionate about. And it's like, because you never know where the design is going to come from or what the concept even going to be until you've dug deep and you're exploring and you're collaborating with a lot of individuals, your clients and team members, etc. We're all kind of searching for the right idea. A lot of ideas out there, but trying to find the right one for that particular client or that particular site, the budget, whatever the constraints and all those are. So that exploration and that journey is what I just really thrive on. So it's just fundamental in that exploration to enjoy that journey wherever it may go. So and every project is different. So. And I think the other core value that I've been kind of thinking a lot more about is being responsible in terms of how we design, especially for this place. obviously with water and energy and kind of where we're all headed with just kind of how the world's changing and how this place is getting hotter and maybe less that was the word, um, hospitable. That the notion that we have to design for the long term, making sure that we're thinking about being more regenerative than just sustainable, and just thinking and how these buildings hopefully won't be torn down, but that they're flexible enough to adapt over time too, and they'll want to be saved. Just don't want to build temporary things that get torn down and something. It's just a waste. So being really thoughtful about those kinds of issues too.
Uh, why is our city a great city?
Um, why is it a great city? I think there's a couple things. One, we are really fortunate that we have a kind of the natural environment basically woven in with the urban environment. We have like South Mountain, we have North Mountain, we have Papago. We have these amazing natural landscapes, like really close, right? Where you can go hiking, at lunchtime. You can go, and be with nature, these natural habitats that are right next door in our backyard. So that's really huge. I think obviously the climate's a factor in that, right? We have for most of the year, we have very, very temperate, very hospitable weather. So I think those things, and then I think we're making investments in public transportation. We're making investments in um, shade and some of these other ideas that are gonna hopefully help knit the city together and make it more walkable. I think we still have a long ways to go, but I think that's the potential is that we can be, if we keep thinking and taking it seriously, we can be a truly great desert city. We're not going to be like LA. We're not going to be like Boston or New York. We need to be authentic to who we are. And I think there's a lot of us that practice that really believe that. And obviously the schools of architecture, hopefully teaching that so that we're all respecting this place and figuring out how to design appropriately and responsibly. So I don't think we're there yet as a great city, but I think it's got the potential to be that. And they're doing a lot of good things right. So
What cause projects and activities are you involved in and why?
yeah, so I just my term just expired for um, Tempe Sustainability Commission. So that was something I did for 6 years. That again, trying to help the city put processes in place and kind of push all their projects, all the community projects that they build, to be more sustainable, as well as the streets and infrastructure. So looking for ways to design our streets in a more appropriate way for this environment. So green infrastructure and bioswales and smart streets and all that good stuff. That to me is really important that as architects, we can help our community leaders make better decisions about how they set the rules and shape our environment. So that's really important. Teaching, I just finished teaching a 6-year, excuse me, with Rachel, one of my partners here at Architekton, and we just did a 6-year studio. And teaching is important too. I think as a cause, as something, as an architect, in terms of being able to give back, in terms of helping teach your generation, in kind of what we know and how you can hopefully be a better architect than me when you get to in my spot, and hopefully paying that forward. Hopefully, that was for me when I was your age. Many professionals gave their time and helped train me and teach me and share their philosophies and their thoughts and all that stuff. And so it's really important to kind of carry those kinds of things forward as well. And then the projects that we do, the ones that I'm really passionate about are the ones that, again, are about knitting the city together, fixing things that need to be fixed, things that are buildings that are true desert buildings that are responsive to all that sunlight, and how do we create protective spaces. We can't do everything, but how can the buildings engage the street to create shadow networks? Ed Saltero, the university architect, talks about this idea on campus. How do we kind of then create protected spaces inside these oases and these ideas of where, when the weather's really nice, we can open up our buildings and actually be outside, and really enjoy this place, than always being in a conditioned environment year round to work, live, or play is not that exciting to me. I'm really more interested in how we can leverage the amazing weather we have and move a lot of those things. I'm more inspired when I'm outside than I am inside. So it's kind of a fun thing to kind of work on and kind of aspire to, in our work.
Do you collaborate with other groups and individuals to realize your impactful work?
Absolutely. So I think that's one of the things as I've gotten older, how I've enjoyed the process of collaboration, more and more. It's like working with other architects in our office, obviously. So everybody from our interns to my partners and everybody in between, our graphic designers, our marketing people. It doesn't matter. It's like the idea is that we're, as a team, looking for the best idea. We don't care whose idea it is. It's really about trying to find that best one and exploring that full spectrum of kind of approaches and ideas, and then including our consultants. So this idea of integrating, and being really smart about creating super sustainable or regenerative buildings that go beyond what has been done in the past. But it also includes bringing in our contractors. It includes our owners. Everybody. The bigger the team and the more complex the team, the more complex the problem, the more I enjoy it. I love really super complex projects. I think what school does for us is teaching us. It teaches us how to design from an aesthetic standpoint, but it also teaches us how to reconcile a lot of complex issues, and kind of taking all this information and shaping it and forming it into something that hasn't been done before, right? To me, that's really exciting, but you can't do it all by yourself. These are super complicated problems. And so the engineers and others that, you surround yourself on these projects is really a joy.
What other creators who are focused on similar causes, projects, and activities have influenced you?
Oh gosh, there's a lot. I think within Arizona, primarily where most of my heroes are, people like Will Bruder, Wendell Burnett. Um, there's just a lot of great architects, Phil Weddle. There's just a lot of people that, again, have taught me a lot about how to approach this environment. It's not an easy environment to attack. Joan Studio, another great group. It's just, what's fun is to see how we all kind of approach this place in different ways, in different kind of aesthetics, but still the underlying kind of principles are the same. We want to create kind of protected spaces from the heat. We want to capture water. I think we want to bring in as much landscape as possible, the biophilia, and the connect the indoors and the outdoors. A lot of these firms have been doing this for a lot longer than us, and they're very inspirational in terms of how to do that. So, and being able to just call them up and talk to them and share ideas or offer a drink and compare notes is wonderful. So they're not just from a distance, but I think a really important part of building an architectural community that I think respects one another, and we're all trying to do the best thing possible to help the city become great. That's one building at a time, but at least there's a lot of us trying to do it, which is reassuring. And I think our clients and the organizations that hire us, kind of share those same values, which is also really wonderful too. Can't do it without great clients.
What will you recommend I do to become a future creator of our great city?
Oh, that's a tough one. I think you need to find out what gets you excited about what kind of what about the profession or about what problems need to be fixed, and then immerse yourself in it, right? I mean, what are the things that inspire you? Do you read? Do you hike? Do you go see art? Or do what is it? And then try to take and then kind of don't stay focused. The inspiration and great stuff comes from all over, so many different directions, right? So reading a lot, going to lectures, talking to other architects, talking to your students, your classmates, your faculty, build those relationships, because those are things that will serve you over the long term. Again, you can't do this all by yourself. So again, having that network of individuals that can help you do that. But and then it just have fun. I mean, I think the most important thing is that if you take this on as work, it's just not gonna, you're not gonna get there. I think if you really are passionate about it and you enjoy the rush of, creating something from nothing, and what that journey, and enjoy the journey. I guess the messiness of design is a really interesting thing to where it becomes this kind of natural high almost. It's like, it's just, time goes so fast because you're just so immersed in this exploration and journey that if you once you kind of discover that, you're unstoppable, because it does take work, it does take time. But again, if it's something that is not tedious and doesn't, just feel like work, I think your imagination can really be free to really explore and really have a good time doing it. You're just going to want to do more and more and more. It's kind of a strange thing, but yeah, have fun. I think that's probably the most important thing, John. Yeah. Then work hard. You got to work hard. This doesn't happen overnight, and designs don't happen overnight. They take a lot of iteration, a lot of exploration, a lot of work.